Check 1, 2, check. Just before we get underway this afternoon, folks, I would ask that you make sure that your cell phones are turned off or on mute, please. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. And I'd also like to welcome those people who are joining us via video link this afternoon. We're here to celebrate the life of Jean Ann White, known to all of you as Anne, a caring, generous, and loving woman who lived a full life. My name is Barry Slocum, and it is my honor to assist you in celebrating Anne's life today. As we begin our service, I'd like to start with this short poem. Those we love don't go away, they walk with us every day, unseen, unheard, but always near in each and every way. I would now light the celebratory candles here at the front, signifying the beginning of our service. As we light these candles, we do so in memory of and in honor of Anne. And we light these candles to represent our grief the pain of losing you is intense, they remind us of the depth of our love for you. And we light these candles to represent our courage, to confront our sorrow, to comfort each other, and to change our lives. And we light these candles in your memory, the times we laughed, the times we cried, the silly things you did, and the caring and joy you gave to all of us, and to thank you for the gift of living you brought to each of us. And finally, Anne, we light these candles in the light of hope. They remind us of the love and the memories of you that are now ours forever. While our hearts are heavy and we're grieving over the passing of Anne today, we celebrate her life. During today's service, you'll have the opportunity to reflect on those special times you shared with her and to share those memories with friends and associates. Today, we come together from different places, different backgrounds, and we are all at different stages of our journey through life, and our paths are varied, and we all look at life in different ways. But there's one thing we all have in common, as at one point or another, and to some degree or another, all of our lives have been touched by the life of Jean Ann White. And so today we put aside our usual daily activities and have gathered here to honor and to remember her. In the short time we have, we can barely scratch the surface, but I hope when you leave here today that you will do so with a real sense of having shared something special for a special and unique woman. Anne was born in Toronto, Ontario on May 26, 1937, and lived in New Westminster prior to her passing February 23, 2023, at age 87. Anne is survived by her children Elizabeth, Michael, Robert, and Jennifer, grandchildren Victoria, Michael, Melissa, Catherine, Bertie, and Chloe, and great-grandchildren Kylie, Sean, Kerrigan, Clara, Grace, and Niall. Following high school, Anne attended Simon Fraser University, where she graduated with an honors degree following studies in sociology and political science, and became a vocational counselor at Riverview Hospital, retiring in 2002. And while she wasn't busy at the hospital, she taught English as a second language. I mentioned that Anne was caring, generous, and loving. In addition, she was compassionate, friendly, respectful, intelligent, reliable. She had a good sense of humor, was funny, affectionate, gentle, charming, intelligent, well-spoken, reliable, and kind. And she was also strong-willed and determined, and apparently could even be a bit on the stubborn side from time to time. And she was most proud of her career, her art and needlework, and her children and grandchildren. Anne enjoyed travel, and she experienced travel to France, California, and Mexico. During her downtime, Anne played the piano and loved to listen to jazz and blues, and her favorite musical artist was Count Basie. I would now like to read a beautiful poem chosen by the family entitled Her Journey's Just Begun by poet Ellen Brenneman. Don't think of her as gone away. Her journey has just begun. Life holds so many facets, and this earth is only one. Just think of her as resting from the sorrow and the tears in a place of warmth and comfort where there are no days or years. Think of how she must be wishing that we could know today how nothing but our sadness can really pass away. And think of her as resting in the hearts of those she touched, for nothing loved is ever lost, and she was loved so very much. Let's reflect on Anne's life for a few moments as we listen to Washington Square, performed by the Village Stompers. At this time, I would invite Karen, daughter, to come forward.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to say a few words concentrating on Anne's life and her interests. She lived a long life, living and dying as she hoped. She retained her faculties and independence to the end. She graduated from SFU with a Bachelor of Arts, majoring in sociology with a political science minor. She transitioned from an interest in communism to socialism, then Canadian politics, first with the NDP, briefly with the Green Party, and then the Liberals, after which she became disillusioned with Canadian politics. Within a year or so of graduating, she returned to university for a teaching degree and then went on to teach English as a second language before becoming a vocational counselor at Riverview Hospital, where she worked until retirement. After retirement, she opened her home to visiting international students, providing room and board with English-speaking practice. Mom was a grammar specialist and was very precise with her words while speaking and could write beautifully. Anne was a very creative person and loved needlework, quilting, knitting, sewing, and occasionally crocheting. Her attention to tiny details, like smocking the front of little dresses, painting or embroidering faces on her dolls, sewing tiny buttons and ribbons on doll clothes. For example, she made a set of 4 dolls based on sisters from the book Little Women. For each, she created clothing for all seasons, including their underwear and night clothes. This is one of the dolls called Jo. And these are some of the little dresses. And you guys can come up and take a look after. And these are 2 of the knitted little teddy bears she did after she said sewing was too difficult for her. And I find these extremely complicated. She also made little animals that are so cute. And I think this one is this guy's. And I also have some examples of her. I brought a small example of her embroidery and quilting. Anyway. Yeah, she also made beautiful quilts, the knitted teddy bears, and dolls. She knitted dolls as well. She also made beautiful socks. These were a pair of her socks I found in her belongings. She knit these, but she knit a lot of pairs of socks. See. And I remember her making a poncho from small crocheted granny squares back in the 70s. And she also did things like she would create patterns from things she saw. She saw an apron she really liked, a gardening apron, and she created the pattern from memory, and she made aprons for everyone for Christmas one year. She was always up for a challenge when it came to needlework. And one of her quilts was created so it could be folded up and tucked into a pocket. So this is a quilt. And she found this really challenging. I think she made this one over 10 years ago. I can't remember when exactly, but she made it for me as a gift. So this is this big, huge quilt, and it folds up into that clever little pocket. Excuse me, people at the back. She had a deep connection to her ancestors through her maternal line and enjoyed reminiscing and learning new things about her ancestors. We always had good conversations in which I was able to share discoveries with her. One of the discoveries that we were really interested in was Her mother's best school friend had turned out to be her mom's fourth cousin. We had no idea. And Anne also loved animals. As a child, she had a black spaniel called Penny. She and Jennifer had a cat called Cloudy that lived a very long time for a cat. They also had numerous other pets. She and Jennifer also had rabbits when they moved into the house. The rabbits had the run of the house and enjoyed a very luxurious life. While in the house, she also fed stray cats, the raccoons that lived near her backyard, and crows that roosted just up the street from her house. She had a passion for gardening and enjoyed designing her front garden and picking out plants for her planters on her back deck every spring. When she moved into her apartment, she decorated her small balcony with beautiful plants. And then here's a sample of, I just printed off some pictures of her garden. You guys can come up and take a look. And then that's all I have to say about Anne right now. I'm going to go on with what other people have said about her. To her son, Robert, Mom was like a best friend. She is remembered by Mike, her grandson, Tina's wife, and Mom's great-grandchildren, Kaylee, Sean, Kerrigan, and Clara. They said Grandma was considerate, caring, and always thought about her impact on others. We miss her and are grateful to have had the chance to know her. Thank you, Tina. Her lifelong friend, Jerry, told me recently that Anne made friends easily wherever she went. Jerry's daughter, Cindy, shared a story from when Mom attended Cindy and Paul's wedding. Jerry was experiencing anxiety about the wedding and was taking meds and doing breathing exercises prescribed by the doctor. Mom entered the room and saw Jerry sitting on the sofa doing deep breathing exercises. Cindy said that Auntie Anne went over to her with hands on hips, looks down on Jerry and says, "If you die on your daughter's wedding day, I will never talk to you again." They still laugh about it to this day. Herma, a friend from Anne's 20s, remembers her kindness and lovely smile. Dan McCarran enjoyed their work together at Riverview and had hoped to catch up with Anne again, but sadly never did. Cam MacArthur remembers his cousin. He said she was such a lovely lady. Cam always loved when she would come to the lake. That's Pleasance Lake in Ontario. Fair Gordon, a friend from her university days, remembers the fun and enlightenment they had during their time at SFU. Mom remembered Fair fondly, even though she hadn't seen her for a very long time. She had other friends that I wasn't able to get hold of, but I'm happy to see they are here. Thank you, Della, for coming. A couple of years ago, so I'm going to close with this. A couple of years ago, she spent a few days in the hospital alone with no distractions. She had an epiphany about mortality that gave her comfort and removed her fear of dying. Her final words to me were, "It's a strange feeling to not know where you're going or how you're going to get there. I'll miss our conversations and visits. I miss you, Mom." Auntie Jerry says, "I will love and miss you forever, my dearest friend. Bon voyage." Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very loving, caring words. And now I'd like to call upon son Michael, please.
Just give me a second. Thank you, Karen, for saying those nice words about Mom. What I'd really like to do is just talk a little bit about how she touched my life. dad of my family. A few days ago, I had the opportunity to visit her childhood home, and it brought back a lot of fond memories. Her parents' home, where she grew up, and the neighborhood, and reflecting, I hadn't realized how much I had learned from her that enabled me to face the challenges of life. I really hadn't put all that together. But upon reflecting, I realized she was my greatest source of life skills. Yeah, she was amazing. She really touched me. And I'm very thankful for everything she gave to me as a mother. And I have tons of fond memories from our childhood. And interestingly, when I had a daughter, I was living in Mexico at the time, and she would come down and for my daughter's birthdays. And she really liked it down there, and my mother-in-law, Maria, who didn't speak English, and my mother, who didn't speak Spanish, were really, truly best of friends. There's actually a picture I saw, a photo on my way in that showed my mom surrounded by all of our extended family in Mexico. And she touched that entire family. And every time I'd talk to either my mother or my mother-in-law, they'd always send best of wishes. My wife, of course, Erica, adored my mom. They called her Nana Ann because of my young daughter Chloe, who was also earlier mentioned. Yeah, it weighs heavy on our hearts as we grieve. However, she also gave me the strength I needed to get where I am, and it'll be the strength I got from her that'll help me get through the grieving process. And then finally, it was very, very fortunate that we, as her children, were able to be with her in her last moments. And she was extremely coherent and expressive. We'd been talking quite a bit more than usual towards the end. But it was so nice for me to see that she was literally prepared as anyone could be. And we had the good fortune of being able to be there and be around her at this difficult moment. But I also noticed, by staying in her house at that time, that she had really fulfilled her life. She had an absolute filled life. So although we grieve, I know that she really got as much out of this life as can be offered. And that brings me peace. And I remember her. I've still got tons of stuff she wrote me and stuff I wrote her. And I'm just glad. She was the best mom ever.
Thank you very much. Again, beautiful, loving words, well spoken. This time I'm going to invite daughter Victoria to come forward.
When I think about Grandma, her expression of creativity had many outlets. Once when I was a child, I remember helping Grandma sell a doll to one of my teachers. I was so proud to show off her abilities and truly admired her. Grandma shared her love of sewing by teaching me to sew a doll. Learning how to sew is a skill. It's a lasting gift that has stayed with me. I also admired her ability to transform areas into lovely green spaces. From small balconies to larger backyards that celebrated her love of nature. As a child, I vividly I recall eating a piece of lemon thyme growing in one of those little balcony gardens. These memories are part of who I am today, so I continue to feel connected to Grandma. When Niall was a baby, he's almost 5, Grandma gave a quilt to him, which you can look at later. It's there. I have many fond memories of Niall waking up to it and genuinely connecting with the imagery. He still loves puppies, strawberries, and cherries, and even mentioned it independently when he saw it today. Every panel shows a different scene with variations of flowers, fruits, animals, and insects. Niall has a strong connection to the sour cherries and strawberries that he picks and enjoys from Nana and Grandpa's garden every summer. So it is lovely to have her memory continue with us through our traditions and memories. Thank you. I love you, Grandma.
Again, thank you very much. It's now your turn to become directly involved in our service today. If anyone would like to say a few words about Anne, I would invite you to do so now. I also respect those of you who wish to remember her quietly and privately. We will now watch a slideshow depicting several portions of Anne's life. The family has chosen a second poem in honor of Anne, entitled I Am There, author unknown. I am the breeze that kisses your cheek. I am the sun that warms your face. When you look at the purple evening sky, it is me. When you see a majestic mountain, it is me. When the birds sweetly sing, it is me. When the water gently laps against the shore, it is my heartbeat. I am the green grass against your feet. I am the refreshing shade of summer. In the stars you'll see my eyes. In the blue sky you'll see my body. Feel the air that surrounds you. I am there. Feel the love in your heart. I am there. Once again, let's reflect on Anne's life as we listen to What a Wonderful World, performed by Louis Armstrong.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They learn much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
In keeping with Anne's spiritual beliefs, I will now read from the book of David, the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. What can I do to mark this moment, you may ask? You can help support and love those who remain. You can allow them time to cry, to grieve, to laugh, and to remember. Grief takes its own time to work itself through, but it is easier with friends who allow it to be what it needs to be. Death affects us all in many ways, and coping with the loss of a loved one is one, if not the toughest journey we face in our lives. You can honor your own feelings by not being afraid to speak Anne's name to family members. Please use Anne's name. Keep in touch, make that call, send an email, or better yet, a handwritten note, particularly as the family enters a year of firsts. Both you and the family member will be better for it, and in doing so, you will become an integral part of the life and legacy of Jean Ann White. Please remember that today is a day of memories. Today will be remembered for many reasons, but mainly I hope it will be remembered by you as a special day. That's right, I said a special day in which you shared some time with others in order to pay your last respects and to say a sad yet fond farewell to a truly wonderful woman, a woman you are so very privileged to have known. As we move towards the conclusion of this celebration of Anne's life, I would ask that you take a moment in the coming days, weeks, and months to remember her. If you are able, I would now ask that you please stand for a further act of remembrance as we continue our celebration of Anne's life. Please. We have been remembering with affection and gratitude the life of Anne and recalling what a caring, generous, and kind woman she was. We rejoice that Anne lived. We remember the delight in Anne's friendship. We treasure that we shared in Anne's life. We cherish our memories of Anne. With love, we wish Anne peace. With respect, we bid Anne farewell. Time passes and feelings change, but our hearts will never forget. Thank you. Please be seated. And as a further goodbye to this wonderful lady, I'd like to offer Anne this blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and the rains fall softly upon your fields until we meet again. We have been recalling with love, respect, and affection the life of Anne. Let us now return to living our own lives with memories of her, which I know you will cherish. On behalf of Anne's family, myself, and Kearney Funeral Services, I'd like to thank you for sharing in this celebration of Anne's life today and for the warmth, sensitivity, and support you have given the family. Also, on behalf of the family, I'd like to send a special thank you to the staff of Floor 6 at Royal Columbian Hospital for the wonderful care they provided to her. I will now extinguish the celebratory candles, signifying the conclusion of our service. May Anne rest in peace and the light shine upon her forever. You are cordially invited to join the family for a reception immediately following our service today. Again, it has been my honor to assist you in celebrating Anne's life, and I'd like to leave you with the following. Anne's life song has ended, but the melody of her life continues on and will be with us forever. This now concludes our service, and I wish you well.